Hey there, neighbors and naysayers. June 27th, 2023. No cattle to show you today in this bunch, no sheep neither. Just wanted to show you a sea of grass ahead of us. Oceans of grass is what I call it. But I thought of something last night and it bared repeating, so I thought I'd better take a video. Look out along here, it's real easy to tell what kind of forage we've got. Lots of fescue, lots of orchard grass, some timothy. There's some other stuff in here, some weeds in here, of course, some ironweed. We got tons of ironweed always. But as I just rode through the field, I don't know if you can see the cows that are in that lower strip. They're way out there by the trees now. The clover's already bouncing back out of that. This spring was a good spring for clover, and you look down in here and you won't find any, but once we've grazed through it, it seems like the clover's really bouncing up. But the take home from today is I'm actually sitting on the four-wheeler because the forage is so thick and it's so wet that I don't want to get off. But what I've noticed the last month or so, maybe, that Kevin and I talked that the grass is really spindly. There's not a lot of leaf, and as you look down in it, that's true. It's a lot of seed head, not a lot of leaf. But I don't know whether it's the structure because of those seed heads, or whether it's the just the quantity of forage. But I can't drive the four-wheeler straight through the grass. I've got to hold on with both hands to be able to get it to go straight. It keeps grabbing and pulling and moving and jerking. I don't remember it ever doing that before. I get to a point sometimes where the front end almost lifts up off the ground with the forage. Now, I don't know where that is, and I can't quantify it. Now, I need to look back at my records. I'm not doing a very good job of keeping records this year, but we're giving the cows about 60 feet by 160 feet a 12-hour period. That works out to 0.44 acres a day. I don't remember that I've ever been that low with that number of cows. It seems like half an acre was about where I was for a day, and now all of a sudden I'm down to 0.4 acres. Now, some of that could be due to increased fertility. We've been spreading a lot more manure in the last few years. This field especially gets manure, and it's really thick. But it also might be that the 3 or 4 years now of me leaving an additional thatch, an additional layer of forage on top of the soil, is finally catching up to me. It may be that we've built some fertility in that. We built some water holding capacity in that, surely. We built a lot of things in that. It'd be interesting to take a soil test. It'd be interesting to look back at my records and see what it looks like. I guess I need to start keeping track with this field, how many days it takes me to get through it. And that'll tell me what we're needing to do. But on top of that, if we talk about one more thing. So you can see the cab of the tractor. There's another field on the other side of the road there along Cottage Lane. Usually we get to, and I don't know which one's true here, which one's right, but usually we get to all the dead standing forage, the overgrown stuff, with the cows and the sheep right about at the same time. And we always use those fields with the cows. We go through it so much faster. This year we're giving the cows and the sheep about the same amount. The calves and sheep are just better at trampling it than the cows are. Lots of little feet, lots more little feet. We're actually going to have to graze those two fields with the sheep, it looks like, because we want to end up about the same time so we can put everybody together. Typically that's the last week in July. As it stands right now, it looks like we're going to be there and maybe later, but I just don't want to leave that. I don't want to leave that old forage stand there and not get it with the sheep. I want everybody to be on green grass at the same time. And as dry as it's been, now we've got lots of rain lately, but as dry as it's been, I'm a little scared of putting them back on stuff that's already been grazed, I guess, to do a full 360. There's a hog barn, and that's the field they just came off of around the top of the hill where you can see that tire trough. They went around the side, coming across the front of the flat right here. I guess that was the last field before they come into this one. So you can see the progression of growth and greenness that's come back over that time, and how much we were able to trample. It's just an interesting study. You know, there's so much of this that we can't quantify. We have no idea what's really causing things and why. You know, our hay yield this year on one field that I did measure, I think we did it even on two. I measured, we were about 70% of last year's yield, and I don't think that's true for the pasture. I think we're plus, not negative, in yield. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I did things just a little bit different this year. Last 2 years I've been trying to push hard and get everything knocked down as fast as I could. This year I'm just kind of going through it. I'm not going as hard as I was last year, but I'm not going as lazy as I was 3 or 4 years ago either. I'm just kind of get through it. That seems to be, find that happy medium seems to be where I need to be. When I went through it too fast, we wasted too much of the quantity that we had. When we went through it too slow, we didn't have the quality that we needed. So we got to balance those two things. And I imagine quality ain't real great here, but by looking at the cow pies, everything's fine. They're going right along. Steers same way. I'm really worried about grass-fed steers and them getting done. Thought they would get done early, but their manure quality looks good. I think we're still getting them. We're still getting the growth we need. It's just, it's awful leggy. The plants are awful seed head and stemmy. So we'll see. It's not clumpy manure in any way, so I think we're still good. One other point I can point out, if you can see that tractor and the baler, right above that, there's a green spot in the middle of that field. That is the bale scar from 2 winters ago, where we fed some bales using bale grazing. That's what that looks like now. And I think all the time, what would it look like if the whole farm was that way? And the bale scar, I just went through the bale fields that we bale grazed on this winter, and where it was really bad, torn up because of that 2-inch rain we got, is coming up. I wouldn't call it solid chicory, plantain, and turnips, but you can obviously tell the chicory, the plantain, and the turnips like that compacted ground around that bale ring. And that's exactly what there's 2 of those scars right there. I can see the one, I don't know if you can see the other one, but we test plotted them. We planted one, didn't plant the other. It didn't make a difference, although we got, they both grew and were both green, but we got better species in the one that we planted on. So I don't know, just interesting observations today that the forage is so thick that it's messing the 4-wheeler up. And I don't know whether it's just because of the stems or whether it's because of the additional quantity. It'll be an interesting thing to find out. With that, I'll say, see you next time.